I'm 26, I work from home as a medical transcriptionist, and I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the 8th floor of an old brick building in Portland, Oregon. Nothing fancy, just me, my cat named Milo, too many houseplants, and a view of a parking lot and some pine trees. My life is quiet. I like quiet. Most days look the same. I wake up around 8:30, make coffee, sit at my desk by the window, and type up doctor's notes until about 6. I take the same lunch break at 1 p.m., peanut butter toast and an episode of whatever show I'm watching. Evenings are grocery runs or a walk around the block if the rain isn't too bad. I'm usually in bed by 11, phone on the nightstand, screen down so the light doesn't bother me. Lately, though, quiet has started feeling different. Like the apartment is listening. I'll be typing and suddenly realize I haven't heard Milo's bell collar in a while, but when I look he's just staring at the front door, ears forward, tail puffed. Or I'll catch my reflection in the black computer screen and for half a second it feels like someone is standing behind me, only there's no one there when I spin around. Little things. I told myself it was stress, maybe too much caffeine, maybe the weather. The building itself is old, built in the 1940s, and the hallways always smell faintly of cigarette smoke even though smoking's been banned for years. The elevator creaks like it's complaining. My neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Delgado, is sweet but she gives me these long looks in the mail room, like she wants to say something and then changes her mind. Once she asked, "You doing okay up there on 8, honey?" in a way that made my stomach flip. I laughed it off. 2 weeks ago I started noticing the silence was heavier at night. Like someone had turned the volume down on the whole world. No cars on the street below, no pipes knocking, no neighbors arguing through the walls. Just this thick, syrupy quiet that made my ears ring. I'd lie in bed and it felt like the air was pressing on my chest. Then came the small thing that I can't explain. It was a Tuesday, 11:47 p.m. I just closed my laptop and was brushing my teeth when my phone lit up on the bathroom counter. Unknown caller. No number, just those words glowing white. I get spam calls sometimes, but never this late. I stared at it, toothbrush in my mouth, and let it ring out. It rang 8 times, 9, 10, then stopped. I spat, rinsed, and went to bed thinking that was that. But when I walked back into the bedroom, my phone was face up on the nightstand again. I always leave it face down. Always. And the screen was still warm, like someone had just been holding it. I told myself I must have flipped it without thinking. I even laughed, a nervous little laugh, because what else could it be? I turned it over, plugged it in, and crawled under the covers. That was the first time it called. I didn't know then that it would call again every night for the next 9 days, and that on the 10th night, I would answer. Music swells slightly, then cuts to black. If that one small moment already has you uneasy, wait until you hear what happened when I finally picked up. The second night, it called at exactly 11:47 p.m. again. Same thing, unknown caller, no number. I let it ring until voicemail would have picked up if it could, but it never did. The call just ended on its own after 33 seconds. I know because I counted. I tried to forget it. I really did. But on the third night, after the phone rang and stopped, I got a text. One single message from a blank contact: "You left the hallway light on." I hadn't. I never leave lights on, it's a habit from growing up poor. I walked to the front door and looked through the peephole. The hallway light was on. I know it was off when I locked up 3 hours earlier because I remember flicking the switch twice to be sure. I opened the door a crack, chain still latched. The bulb was glowing soft yellow, same as always, but the hallway smelled like cold rain even though it was dry outside. No one was there. I shut the door, turned the light off from the inside switch, and went back to bed with my heart punching my ribs. Night 4, I started keeping the phone in the kitchen so I wouldn't hear it. At 11:47 it rang anyway. I ignored it. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my apartment. Slow, barefoot steps. Back and forth, like someone pacing right in front of my door. I pressed my ear to the wood and the steps stopped. Dead silence. Then a soft knock, 3 times, so gentle it could almost be the building settling. I didn't open the door. I stood there until my legs shook. The next morning I told Mrs. Delgado about the pacing. She smiled the way old ladies do when they think you're exaggerating and said, "Oh honey, it's probably just Mr. Chen on 9. He sleepwalks sometimes." But her eyes slid away from mine when she said it. That afternoon I went to the corner store for milk. I felt it the whole walk, someone watching. When I came out, a man was standing across the street under the awning, hood up even though it wasn't raining. Just staring. Not at his phone, not smoking, just staring straight at me. I hurried home. When I glanced back at my reflection in the lobby glass, he was gone, but the lobby smelled like cold rain again. Night 6, the phone rang at 11:47. This time when it stopped, my laptop, which was closed on the desk, woke itself up. The screen lit up with a new text file that definitely not mine. Just one line in the middle of the blank page, "I can see Milo on the windowsill." I ran to the window. Milo was sitting there, tail flicking, looking down at the parking lot 8 floors below. No one was out there. Just cars and wet pavement under the streetlights. I closed the curtains so hard the rod almost came down. I called my best friend Jenna and told her everything. She listened, then sighed and said, "Alex, you've been pulling 12-hour transcription days. You're exhausted. Maybe see a doctor, get something to help you sleep." I hung up feeling smaller than ever. Night 8, I couldn't take it anymore. I unplugged the Wi-Fi router, turned my phone completely off, and stuffed it in a kitchen drawer. I even put a glass of water on top so I'd hear if the drawer opened. 11:47 came and went. No ringing. I almost cried from relief. Then, at 11:52, I heard the soft click of my bedroom window sliding up from the outside. I sleep with the window cracked 2 inches for Milo, always locked at that point with a wooden dowel. But the dowel was on the floor, and the window was open 6 inches now. Cold, wet air rolled in. I sat up in bed and saw a hand, pale, fingers too long, curled over the sill from the outside. It didn't push the window farther. It just rested there, feeling the air like it was testing the temperature. I couldn't scream. My throat closed. The fire escape is on the other side of the building, there is no way anyone could reach my window from the outside. 8th floor. Brick wall. Nothing to climb. The hand slowly slid back out and the window eased down until it touched the frame again. Not closed all the way, just resting. Then silence. I didn't sleep. At sunrise I found wet fingerprints on the outside of the glass, smeared like someone had pressed their whole palm against it. And on the inside sill, right where Milo likes to sit, there was a single drop of water that smelled like rain, even though the window had only opened for maybe 10 seconds. That was when I finally understood, whatever this is, it knows exactly where I live. It's been here. It's touched my home. And it's still coming back. Music drops to almost nothing, just a low, trembling drone and distant rain. Night 9. I hadn't slept in 2 days. My eyes burned, my hands wouldn't stop shaking, and every sound in the building felt like it was inside my skull. I'd pushed the couch against the front door, jammed a chair under the bedroom handle, and taped cardboard over the window so I couldn't see out and nothing could see in. Milo hadn't eaten since yesterday, he just sat in the corner, back arched, staring at the bedroom ceiling like something was crawling across it. 11:46 p.m. I sat on the bed with my phone in my lap, turned off, battery actually pulled out this time, and a kitchen knife in my right hand. I wasn't going to answer. I told myself that 100 times. I just wanted the night to be over. 11:47, nothing. No ring. No vibration. Just the rain starting again outside, soft at first, then harder, like someone pouring pebbles on the roof. 11:48, a new sound. Very faint. A slow, wet dragging across the hallway floor outside my door. Back and forth. Sh-thump, sh thump, like bare feet wrapped in soaked cloth. It stopped right in front of my apartment. Then breathing. I swear I heard breathing through the door. Slow, patient, through the nose. In, out, like someone tasting the air. My own breath stopped. My heart was so loud I was sure it could hear it. I gripped the knife until my knuckles went white. The dragging started again, but this time it moved away, down the hall, toward the emergency exit. I let myself hope it was leaving. 11:52, the bedroom light flickered once, twice, then died. The whole apartment went black except for the streetlight leaking around the edges of the cardboard on the window. Rain hammered now, loud enough to cover small sounds, which made everything worse. I heard the window again. Not the sliding this time. A soft, deliberate tap, tap, tap on the glass from outside. 3 times. Then a pause. Then 3 more. Like knuckles asking to be let in. I didn't move. I couldn't even breathe. Tap, tap, tap. The cardboard bulged inward, just a little, like something on the other side was pressing its forehead against it. A shadow spread across the wall, tall, thin, head tilted. The shape stayed there for 5 whole seconds, maybe 10. I could see individual fingers, splayed fingers pushing the cardboard, making wet handprints that soaked through. I bit my lips so hard I tasted blood, because if I made a sound I knew it would come in. The shadow slowly slid upward, as if whatever it was had stood on tiptoes to look over the top of the cardboard. Then it was trying to see into the room. The knife slipped in my sweaty hand. It clattered against the bed frame, loud, too loud. Everything stopped. Even the rain seemed to pause. Then the cardboard ripped. A single pale finger poked through the tear, hooked, and pulled. The rip was slow, deliberate, like opening a letter you've waited years for. Cold, rainy air rushed in. I saw one eye through the hole, huge, black, no white at all, reflecting the dim streetlight like a cat's eye. It blinked once. I scrambled backward off the bed, hit the floor hard, and crawled under it, pulling Milo with me. He didn't fight, he was stiff with terror. We lay there, noses almost touching, while I tried to breathe without sound. Above us, the mattress creaked. Once. Twice. Like weight settling onto it. The bed springs groaned right over my head. Something was sitting on my bed, less than 2 feet above me. I felt warm drops hit my cheek, rainwater dripping through the mattress. It smelled like soil and metal. It stayed there for minutes, hours, I don't know. Just breathing that same slow, patient breath. In, out, in, out. Then the weight lifted. The bed springs bounced lightly. Footsteps, soft, wet, walked across my bedroom floor, past the bed, toward the door. The bedroom door handle rattled once, testing. Locked. Silence again. I waited another 20 minutes, maybe more, until my legs went numb. When I crawled out, knife first, ready to scream or stab or die. The bedroom was empty. The ripped cardboard hung in strips. Rain blew in through the open window, which was now wide open, the dowel still on the floor. The couch was still against the front door. Nothing had come in that way. But on my pillow, right where my head would have been, there was a perfect wet handprint, fingers too long, palm ice cold when I touched it. And underneath the pillow, my phone. Screen on. Battery back in somehow. One new call in the log at 11:47 p.m. Duration, 4 minutes 33 seconds. I never pressed accept. The screen showed the call was still connected. It was listening. I screamed, finally screamed, and threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and the call ended. When I looked out the window, 8 floors down in the parking lot, a tall figure stood under the streetlight, hood up, face hidden, staring straight up at my window. It raised one hand, slowly, and waved, like saying goodnight to a child. Then the streetlight popped and went out, and it was gone. Single heartbeat boom, I didn't sleep. I ran. I grabbed Milo, my keys, and I ran barefoot into the hallway in my pajamas. Mrs. Delgado's door was cracked open for the first time ever. I didn't stop to look inside. I slept in my car that night with the engine running and the doors locked. But the danger wasn't over. Because when I turned the radio on to stay awake, the static cleared for half a second, and I heard my own voice, tiny and far away, saying, "Help me," over and over. The call was coming from inside the car. That night in the car was the last night I spent in Portland. At 6 a.m. I drove straight to the police station with Milo in his carrier on the passenger seat. I told the officer at the desk everything: the calls, the window, the handprint on my pillow, the phone that turned itself back on. I showed him the wet fingerprints on the outside glass. They were still there when I left. He listened, wrote a report, and said they'd send someone to check the apartment. They never did. The building manager told them no signs of forced entry, and that was I sure I hadn't been drinking or taking anything. I left with a case number and the feeling that I was completely alone. I called in sick to work for a week, then quit. I couldn't sit at that desk by the window anymore. My boss said, "Take all the time you need," but I heard the doubt in her voice. My mom flew up, helped me pack what little I wanted, and we drove south in one day, 16 hours straight to my sister's place in Arizona. I left the couch, the plants, most of my clothes. I took Milo, my laptop, and the knife, and the clothes on my back. I thought distance would fix it. It didn't. The new apartment in Tucson is on the ground floor, big mistake. I didn't realize until after I signed the lease. I keep every curtain closed, every light on, and I still sleep with the knife under my pillow. I flinch when delivery drivers knock. I stopped answering any call that isn't a saved contact. When I walk Milo at night, I carry pepper spray in one hand and my keys between my fingers in the other. I check the locks 5, 6 times before bed. I count. Some nights I wake up at exactly at 11:47 p.m. on the dot, heart racing, even though I took the battery out of every clock in the house. My body just knows. I started therapy. The therapist is kind, but after 3 sessions she gently suggested complex PTSD with paranoid features. She doesn't understand that paranoia is the only thing keeping me alive. My family tries. My sister leaves the hall light on for me. My mom texts every hour when I'm alone. But I see the way they look at each other when I jump at a normal sound. They love me, but they don't believe me anymore. And I don't think it stopped just because I ran. 3 weeks ago I got a new phone, new number, new everything. Last Tuesday I was heating soup at 11:43 p.m. when the screen lit up on the counter. UnknownCaller. I stared at it like it was a loaded gun. It rang once, twice, then stopped. No voicemail. But when I flipped the phone over, the back was wet. Just a single set of long, pale fingerprints pressed into the case, like someone had picked it up while standing in the rain. I dropped it in the sink and poured bleach over it. I haven't bought a new one yet. I don't know if I ever will. Sometimes, when I'm in the grocery store or filling gas, I feel that stare again. Cold, patient. Yesterday I swear the car idling 2 pumps over had Oregon plates, even though we're 1,000 miles away. I keep asking myself I'm safe now. New city, new name on the mailbox, no social media, no forwarding address. But last night, At exactly 11:47 p.m., Milo jumped onto the windowsill and growled at the closed blinds, low and furious, hair on end. I pulled the curtain back just an inch. There was no one outside. Just fresh, wet footprints on the dry concrete, leading right up to my door, and stopping. They were barefoot. And they were facing in. Long silence, only soft rain, so here I am, telling you this so someone finally believes me. Because sometimes, when the apartment is dead quiet and the clock hits 11:46, I swear I can hear slow breathing, on the other side of the bedroom wall. Like it followed me. Like it's been patient this whole time. Like it's waiting for me to answer just once. So tell me. If your phone rang right now, at 11:47 exactly, from UnknownCaller, would you let it ring? Or have you already answered, and you just don't remember yet?